uncharted space, uncharted time, where there's no rules but one: liberty. Give me liberty or give me death. There was some people that said that a long time ago, back before the neoliberal asswipe shithole pussies said it was a threat to democracy to rebel and demand a birthright of citizenship for the greatest country the world has ever seen. The first democratic republic to manifest itself with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All culminating into descendants who are cowards, I guess, letting it all slip away, slip through their fingers, like the star systems in the galaxy of the Imperial Senate. The more you tighten your fingers, Darth, the more star systems slip through your fingers.
Also breaking tonight, the third story in a row, there are new developments in the Hunter Biden email story. We've seen the one senior federal official tells Fox News the FBI and DOJ concur with DNI John Ratcliffe's assessment that Hunter Biden's laptop and emails were not part of a Russian disinformation campaign. And the senior federal official says the FBI is in possession of the Hunter Biden laptop in question. That breaking moments ago. Also late today, a new photo has emerged in the New York Post showing former Vice President Joe Biden's son Hunter and purported Kazakh officials. It is undated. We're checking with our sources to get as much information as we can about it and the proper context, as we are with all the new revelations in this Hunter Biden story.
I believe I can fly. I got shot by the FBI.
That's why it's so serious, Lawrence, because it doesn't matter if maybe tiny parts of the dossier are true. So much of it is unverified, and so much of it has been proven to be false and just salacious. That if that was the document that was used to justify spying on Americans warrantlessly, it's pretty egregious.
And you know what? Welcome, Republicans, to the party. Welcome, because us libertarians have been talking about the deep state in the FBI for a while. And, you know, it was just bag the blue, which I do back the blue. But make sure the blue is following the law. And a lot of these people are corrupting this department. Remember I told you the last time I was on, I haven't trusted the FBI ever since they left my hometown, Garland, Texas, hanging. There was an FBI agent that watched a terrorist almost commit an act.
That's right.
And did nothing. Just took a photo and marched off. So, welcome to the party. There's a lot of corruption there. They hide stuff and they protect each other. I'm concerned about the new FBI director. Are you going to protect your new brothers?
You know that's right, boo boo.
Serious enough, and I don't know if
you know that's
President
right.
Ray addressed
just
those
a bunch of roaches covering
you,
roaches.
But, you know,
He seemed a little hesitant.
Come out to the light.
Ryan, tell us what's on your radar.
A few weeks ago, we talked on this program about how the Department of Justice had stretched its indictment of Julian Assange so that it wouldn't look like the government was doing what it was actually doing, namely coming after a journalist for the crime of doing journalism. The U.S. doesn't want that impression to set in because then they get roundly mocked when they say things like this.
We remain deeply concerned over the continued detention of U.S. citizen Danny Fenster, who was working as a journalist in Burma. Yesterday, Danny marked his 100th day in detention. Journalism is not a crime. The detention of Danny Fenster and other journalists constitutes an unacceptable attack on freedom of expression in Burma. We continue to press Burma's military regime to release Danny immediately. We will do so until he safely returns home to his family.
And that's not just bad for the State Department, that's bad for the free press, and it's bad for journalists working in dangerous places. Because dictators feel comfortable cracking down, knowing they can just do a what about Julian Assange?
If you raise this question, can I ask you also one? How do you assess what happened to Mr. Assange? Is it a reflection of free media in your country?
We're not here to discuss
no, let's discuss.
No.
Let's discuss.
No, President.
In order to accuse me, saying that Armenians will not have free media here, let's talk about Assange. How many years he spent in Ecuadorian embassy, and for what, and where is he now? for journalistic activity. You kept that person hostage, actually killing him morally and physically. You did it, not us, and now he's in prison. So you have no moral right to talk about free media when you do these things.
Returning to the conflict,
better return to the conflict, because this is not what you like. You like only to accuse, only to attack.
Now, to be clear, the president of Azerbaijan is in fact cracking down on dissent. And it would be good if there was somebody with the moral authority to call that out. Danny Fenster absolutely should be free and back with his family. And I wish the U.S. demand carried more moral weight.
Did the State Department turn over documents to the FBI related to Hunter Biden, Burisma, and or the Blue State Strategies Corporation?
You'll have to.
So you have no knowledge of this. You have had no. You don't. You are you saying you have not had an interview with the FBI since
it would not be appropriate for me to comment in a public forum on any legal proceedings that the department.
I'm not asking you to cooperate. I'm not asking you to comment on the legal proceedings. I'm just asking if you've been interviewed by the FBI since becoming Secretary of State.
Again, I'm not going to comment one way or another on any legal proceedings or not that may or may not have happened.
Have you sought to?
Let me remind the gentleman that the topic of this hearing is Afghanistan. That's what we're.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, but the Secretary generally refuses to answer questions about Afghanistan, so I just figured we'd talk about something he should be intimately familiar with. Have you sought to alter any of your testimony from last year's Senate investigation regarding this topic, Mr. Secretary?
Our nation's law enforcement agencies are entrusted to serve and protect the people, the vulnerable, the victims of heinous crimes. It is the most egregious violation of that trust when instead of protecting the vulnerable, they protect and enable perpetrators of these crimes to continue their evil acts. Now, the brave testimony that was given by Simone Biles, Ali Reisman, Michaela Moroney, and Maggie Nichols before the U.S. Senate yesterday was devastating and sickening. FBI agents were not only derelict in their duty, they actively chose to turn a blind eye to the abhorrent crimes that Larry Nassar committed. They chose to protect this rapist and pedophile who repeatedly molested these and hundreds of other girls. And when these girls cried out for help, when they had the courage to come forward to bring about justice to this despicable perpetrator, the FBI turned their backs on them. So this is a fact. The FBI was complicit in the sex crimes of a pedophile rapist. Just listen to Ali Reisman, one of Nassar's victims.
The FBI and others within both USAG and USOPC knew that Nassar molested children and did nothing to restrict his access. Steve Penny and any USAG employee could have walked a few steps to file a report with the Indiana Child Protective Services since they shared the same building. Instead, they quietly allowed Nassar to slip out the side door, knowingly allowing him to continue his work at MSU, Sparrow Hospital, a USAG club, and even run for school board. Nassar found more than 100 new victims to molest. It was like serving innocent children up to a pedophile on a silver platter.
So why aren't these FBI agents being prosecuted for their role in enabling Nassar to continue to rape and molest hundreds of girls? Why aren't they in jail? Why aren't they being held accountable? The sad truth is that this is yet another example of how there is one justice system for everyday Americans, and there is another for the elite, the powerful and connected. Just make no mistake, this is not an isolated incident. There are countless others whose cries for help have been and continue to be buried by a system and bureaucracy that's more concerned about protecting itself and their own than they are about actually holding perpetrators accountable for the crimes they commit. Now, someone very close to me who works in law enforcement was sexually assaulted by a coworker on federal property. Now, supervisors and leaders were made aware of this crime. They were shown indisputable evidence that a felony was committed, and they chose to do nothing. They did nothing. The perpetrator of this crime was never brought to justice. In order for our society to function under the rule of law, we the people must have faith that this justice system works, that it treats everyone equally. Unfortunately, that's not the reality in this country today. Our justice system is broken, and it must be fixed so that we the people can truly have faith that no one is above the law, not law enforcement, not the politicians, not the rich or the powerful or connected. They should be held to the same standard as every other American. These FBI agents should be prosecuted and imprisoned for the crimes that they committed. I encourage you to listen to the testimony of Simone Biles and the other victims of Larry Nassar and the FBI, as they speak for countless others whose voices have not been heard.
I sit before you today to raise my voice so that no little girl must endure what I, the athletes at this table, and the countless others who needlessly suffered under Nassar's guise of medical treatment, which we continue to endure today. We suffered and continue to suffer because no one at FBI, USAG, or the USOPC did what was necessary to protect us. We have been failed and we deserve answers. Nassar is where he belongs, but those who enabled him deserve to be held accountable. If they are not, I am convinced that this will continue to happen to others across Olympic sports. In reviewing the OIG's report, it truly feels like the FBI turned a blind eye to us and went out of its way to help protect USAG and USOPC. A message needs to be sent. If you allow a predator to harm children, the consequences will be swift and severe. Enough is enough.
As most of you are probably aware, I was molested by the U.S. gymnastics national team and Olympic team doctor, Larry Nassar. And in actuality, he turned out to be more of a pedophile than he was a doctor. What I'm trying to bring to your attention today is something incredibly disturbing and illegal. After telling my entire story of abuse to the FBI in the summer of 2015, not only did the FBI not report my abuse, but when they eventually documented my report 17 months later, they made entirely false claims about what I said. After reading the Office of Inspector General's OIG report, I was shocked and deeply disappointed at this narrative they chose to fabricate. They chose to lie about what I said and protect a serial child molester rather than protect not only me, but countless others.
I reported my abuse to USA Gymnastics over 6 years ago, and still, my family and I received few answers and have even more questions about how this was allowed to occur and why dozens of other little girls and women at Michigan State had to be abused after I reported. In sacrificing my childhood for the chance to compete for the United States, I am haunted by the fact that even after I reported my abuse, so many women and girls had to suffer at the hands of Larry Nassar. USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee and the FBI have all betrayed me and those who were abused by Larry Nassar after I reported. The cover-up of my abuse and the FBI's failure to interview me for more than a year after my complaint are well documented in the OIG report. After I reported my abuse to USA Gymnastics, my family and I were told by their former president, Steve Penny, to keep quiet and not say anything that could hurt the FBI investigation. We now know there was no real FBI investigation occurring. While my complaints with the FBI, Larry Nassar continued to abuse women and girls. During this time, the FBI issued no search warrants and made no arrests.
In 2015, it was known that at least 6 national team athletes had been abused by Nassar. There was even one of the athletes that was abused on film. Given our abuser's unfettered access to children, stopping him should have been a priority. Instead, the following occurred. The FBI failed to interview pertinent parties in a timely manner. It took over 14 months for the FBI to contact me, despite my many requests to be interviewed by them. The records established that Steve Penny, FBI agent Jay Abbott, and their subordinates worked to conceal Nassar's crimes. Steve Penny arranged with the FBI to conduct my interview at the Olympic Training Center, where I was under the control and observation of USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. The day of my interview, Steve Penny flew to the Olympic Training Center, and he made sure I was aware he was there. I felt pressured by the FBI to consent to Nassar's plea deal. The agent diminished the significance of my abuse and made me feel my criminal case wasn't worth pursuing. Special agent in charge of investigating Nassar met Steve Penny for beers to discuss job opportunities in the Olympic movement.
And we are thankful that the Senate gave these victims the opportunity to share their heartbreaking stories of abuse. But they need to do more. They need to use their power and position to ensure that those complicit in these crimes are brought to justice. If they don't, they're basically sending a message to pedophiles throughout the country, especially those who have some power or influence, that they will never have to pay for the crimes that they commit against our children.
Director Ray, would you proceed with your opening statement, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Grassley, members of the committee. On behalf of the entire FBI, I want to begin by saying to the brave women who testified here this morning, Ms. Biles, Ms. Maroney, Ms. Nichols, and Ms. Rageman, and I gather there were some others here today who were among the many who Nassar hurt. I'm deeply and profoundly sorry to each and every one of you. I'm sorry for what you and your families have been through. I'm sorry.
He's very sorry.
So many
he feels your pain. I feel your pain.
Over and over again. And I'm especially sorry.
We're going to talk a lot, guys. I hope you guys like to chat up, because we're going to have us citizens of the country, we got to have a little mano y mano. You know what I'm saying?
It never should have happened.
What are we going to do with these?
We're doing everything in our power to make sure
twaddling instigators. These lying, deceiving.
Now, before I became FBI director, I
bureaucratic
was generally familiar with the Nassar story.
Who's worse?
His arrest in 2016.
Tell me on the chat.
And
who's
I
worse?
remember even then being
the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the Democrats and Republicans?
Their jobs and
who's
keep
worse?
These young women safe
Good question.
From that predator. But after I became FBI director, and when I learned that there were people at the FBI who had also failed these women, I was heartsick and furious. I immediately ordered a special review by our inspection division to try to get to the bottom of it. That review led in part to the Inspector General's own review, and I'm grateful to Inspector General Horowitz for his team's extensive and independent work. I want to be crystal clear. The actions and inaction of the FBI employees detailed in this report are totally unacceptable.
Let me be clear.
These individuals
nobody got fired.
The core duty
Nobody got chastised.
Of
dock pay.
People. They failed to protect young women and girls from abuse.
But they won't be
the
fired.
Work
and they're probably on administrative leave.
Is often complicated and uncertain.
Don't worry, guys. Justice is being done.
We're not going to be perfect, but the kinds of fundamental errors that were made in this case in 2015 and 16 should never have happened, period. And as long as I'm FBI director, I'm committed to doing everything in my power to make sure they never happen again. The FBI cannot carry out its vital mission of protecting the American people without trust. And in this case, FBI agents, certain FBI agents, broke that trust repeatedly and inexcusably. And to pretend otherwise would be yet one more insult to the survivors.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't make up a whole entire story about Russia.
Threaten the very confidence we rely on every day to keep people safe. So I want to make sure the public knows that the reprehensible conduct reflected in this report is not representative of the work that I see from our 37,000 folks every day. The actions, instead, of the agents described in this report are a discredit to all those men and women who do the job the right way with uncompromising integrity, the way the American people rightly expect and deserve. Throughout my career as a prosecutor and now at the Bureau, I have found that the agents and officers who investigate.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. Yes, I stopped my pre-video. I'm just chomping at the bit right now, guys. Do you guys remember June 2017? June 2017, guys. This new FBI director is talking about how he's never seen an FBI agent or informant go above or beyond, abuse their their authority or whatever the hell we give the FBI to sneak, surveil, and blackmail regular citizens of this country. But I remember a time. It was Time Magazine, guys. Let's see if I can turn around. Can I turn around? No, I got glare. Time Magazine. Politics, White House. Rod Rosenstein authorized the release of text messages between FBI employees Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Court filings. Former Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein authorized the release of private text messages between two former FBI employees critical to President Donald Trump, according to Justice Department court filing released late last Friday. What were these text messages, guys? The two referred to Trump as an idiot and expressed support for Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. Well, I guess because they just got done erasing her fucking 30,000 emails with their fucking... because that's who was investigating Hillary's emails, by the way, the FBI. Wonder why they never found him. Well, here you got Lisa Strzok and, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, who expressed support for Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. Now they have text messages, guys. 375 messages released to the media, December 13th, 2017. Now, when you see these text messages, guys, it is hilarious. We're not going to let him be president, are we? We're going to stop this, right? We're going to interfere with this, right? Who's interfering with elections? Who's undermining democracy? What is a threat to democracy? These are all questions I want you to ask as you hear this lying liar lie his way out of yet another colossal failure of justice. These guys lie and lie and lie and lie. I'm literally surprised, guys. I had to stop this pre-video because I'm literally surprised that this new guy didn't just come up with a story about Russia and Russian hookers. I mean, are they learning? Or maybe there were just no Russians around? I don't know, guys. But listen to this lying liar and how he's so extremely sorry, except no one got fired. There was no consequences for any agents. And he's extremely sorry. And the minute I thought there was a miscarriage of justice, I did a report on it. And I put it with Mueller's report. It's fucking pathetic, bro.
crimes against children and sex crimes are among the most compassionate and fiercely dedicated out there.
Oh, he's so fiercely dedicated.
A number of you on the
everyone
committee
who has money
have had the same
is willing to
experience
pay.
on your end. And I am grateful to the women who came forward today so that I can say to everyone that there is no more important work in law enforcement than helping victims of abuse. It's work that's got to get done right.
Did you hear that? He's so grateful that these women who were raped testified today, because that gives him a chance to show everybody that even though he fucked up royally and was complicit in sex crimes by not indicting the offender, even though he was caught with his pants down, as was Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, because like literally, guys, 375 text messages. These guys have not only did they not have shame, they're not even worried about getting caught because they can just make up stories or tell you how principled they are and how royally sorry they are. It's amazing. But to continue his lies, go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about how sorry you are and how this was a teaching moment, wasn't it? This was the chance that you needed to tell everyone what?
Every single time. It is essential that we do everything we can to ensure that victims continue to come forward with confidence that their reports are going to be thoroughly and aggressively investigated. Now, a big part of that is accountability and holding our folks to the highest standard our work requires. When I received the Inspector General's report and saw that the supervisory special agent in Indianapolis had failed to carry out even the most basic parts of the job, I immediately made sure he was no longer performing the functions.
I immediately made sure he was moved on to another task
that individual
and put under
no
administrative
longer works
leave,
for the FBI
probably
in
sent
any
it to Haiti.
capacity. As for the former Indianapolis special agent in charge, the descriptions of his behavior also reflect violations of the FBI's long-standing code of conduct and the ethical obligations for all FBI employees.
The long-standing code of conduct for FBI agents. Would that be blacklisting people for being supposed communists in the 50s? Would that be following Martin Luther King around asking him to commit suicide in the 60s? Would that be continuously trying to overthrow and assassinate Fidel Castro in the late 60s? Would that you be starting a Cold War with Russia with tensions that rose because you were instigating rebels to overthrow their own governments? Would that be what you do? And what, guys, listen to what he says happens to these people after he finds out what they did was totally not the rules of the FBI. Do you ever hear anything about them being fired? Listen closely. Listen very closely to what happens to these people. What happens to them? Because I don't think he says anything about them being fired. I don't think they are. I think they're moved on to another task like a Catholic priest. That's what I think.
Especially senior officials. Now, that individual has been gone for the Bureau for about 3.5 years, having retired in January of 2018 before any review launched. And I will say it is extremely frustrating that we are left with little disciplinary recourse when people retire before their cases can be adjudicated. But let me be clear, people who engage in that kind of gross misconduct have no place in the FBI. I can also assure you that the FBI's response is not limited to dealing with those who failed so profoundly back in 2015. To make sure that something like this never happens again, we've already begun fully implementing all of the Inspector General's recommendations. That includes strengthening our policies and procedures, strengthening our training to firmly underscore the critical importance of thoroughly and expeditiously responding to all allegations of sexual assault or abuse. Because, as I said a moment ago, the American people are counting on us to get this done right every time. And finally, I'd like to make a promise to the women who appeared here today and to all survivors of abuse. I am not interested in simply addressing this wrong and moving on. It's my commitment to you that I and my entire senior leadership team are going to make damn sure everybody at the FBI remembers what happened here in heartbreaking detail. We need to remember the pain that occurred when our folks failed to do their jobs. We need to study it. We need to learn from it. That is the best way I know to make sure that this devastating tragedy is never repeated. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Grassley, and members of the committee for the opportunity to testify today. Look forward to your questions.
Thank you.
All the feds, heathens, take it slow.
Don't take it slow.
Instigating bullshit as they go.
As they go.
Y'all don't be so fucking confused. The FBI is dirty and they're poo.
Yo, guess that shit?
All these feds are stupid, take it slow.
Take it slow.
Shit, they are corrupt as fuck, you know. Please don't be so fucking confused. They're dirty motherfuckers and they're poo. Yeah, these guys got an agency, the government, that never meant to talk about our freedoms and the liberties and civil liberties to go. It's stupid, yo. Unconstitutional Gestapo, yeah. They are creepers and they're peepers in their government. These motherfuckers need to be dissolved, oh yeah. Cause they were not meant to be in charge. All these feds are crooked, don't you know?
Feds are crooked, yo.
Corrupt all as fuck, y'all know.
As fuck, you know.
How could y'all be so fucking confused? These bitches are just agencies abused. Don't deal with the dictators, no I don't. Don't deal with the agencies, they spoke. We got a constitution in this bitch, you guys. Take your hands out of your pockets and fucking open your eyes. I don't deal with all these fucking spooks. They need to be dissolved under Hoover's boots. I'll show you what a patriot is, you kooks. Now just watch me, guys. Open up your eyes. All these feds are crooked, don't you know? Stupid as a fucking ghost. They're liars, deceivers, and they're spooks. Anyone who believes them, oh, they're kooks. You guys are stupid, motherfucking stupid kooks. You live 7 days a week, but they are corrupt. How can you believe them? All these corrupt feds are believe them? How can you believe all these government agencies? How can you believe them? All these feds are liars. Open your eyes. They play all these games a day, you guys. All the feds corrupt as fuck, y'all know. And I think you guys cowards on you know. You merely melt neoliberal shitbags. I'll show you what a patriot is, y'all sad, sad, sad. Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics.
I'm going to just give a really quick recap because so many people have come in and just, so what happened? This morning at 7 a.m., 5 houses were raided by the FBI, as was the Anti-War Committee Office. People were, they were presented with search and seizure warrants and stuff was hauled away from their houses. There were also people who were given subpoenas to appear before a grand jury in the next couple of weeks in Chicago.
A quick kind of welcome to everybody for coming at the very spur of the moment. You know, this meeting got called, I think, at 11 o'clock this morning for 5:30 today, and look at the turnout, this is fabulous. And I want to say why I think it's important that everybody's here, and why, you know, we wanted this meeting to happen, and that's because for those of us who are not affected by this, I feel like we have to say we got your back for the ones who are. So this can absolutely never be okay. And this can absolutely never happen in isolation. And ever happen when people do not feel that the community is going to come right behind them, stand with them, and support them. I think, you know, we saw how we can do this when we had gotten our strength together around the RNC8 case. And we've seen the results of that. You know, so they're not really smart enough to pick up on the fact that we got these people's backs. So they must need another one. So we'll give them one. We're going to make sure that they understand that don't come in the Twin Cities or anywhere and, excuse my language in this terms, fuck with our activists. Not happening.
An attorney working for a firm representing Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign is being charged with allegedly making false statements to the FBI. The indictment of Michael Sussman says he, quote, lied about the capacity in which he was providing allegations to the FBI regarding possible links between a Russian bank and a company owned by former President Trump. CBS News legal contributor and Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson joins me now with more. Hi there, Jessica. So this charge comes out of special counsel John Durham's investigation of the Russia investigation. Tell us more about the charge against Michael Sussman. What is he accused of lying about?
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is the investigation into the investigation. And as you said in the introduction a little bit, what Michael Sussman is potentially going to be charged with lying about, the prosecutors here are going to ask the grand jury to indict. They still need to go through that process of actually indicting, is that he lied to the FBI. So when he went to the FBI in 2016, the allegation here is that he said to the FBI senior attorney, James Baker, I'm not here on behalf of a client. And then later, when he was under oath talking to Congress about a year later, he said, well, I was there in my capacity. Actually, I was representing an anonymous cybersecurity expert. Now, the allegation based on some internal documents that indicate that maybe Mr. Sussman had billed the Clinton campaign for his time talking to the FBI is that, in fact, he was talking to the FBI on behalf of a client, and that client was Hillary Clinton.
Her name was Hillary Clinton.
Mr. Sussman has said, no, I can explain that internal billing. That's really inside baseball in terms of how I allocate my time. But that's the crux of the idea here, is that he told the FBI, I'm not here representing any particular client, and or it's at the very most, it's an anonymous cybersecurity expert with no relationship to the Clinton campaign.
None at all.
He then tells Congress,
not even
I
a
was
little.
there in my capacity as a representative of a cybersecurity expert, and the allegation being, well, was he actually there to help the Clinton campaign?
Well, Jessica, do we know? Can we expect more charges from Durham's investigation?
From the fact checkers.
I think we don't know. So one of the things we know that he's looking at is what Sussman came to the FBI with.
I mean, literally, guys. Do we think that he was with the Clinton campaign, even though he never said he was? When you lie to the liars, does that make you even more of a liar? Or are you all liars? We don't know. We're the news media. We don't know. Let's find out more.
apparently was a potential connection between the Trump organization and a Kremlin-backed bank. We know he's been looking into that Kremlin-backed bank, Alpha, but we don't know where this is going to take him. What we know is that these charges are coming now because if Durham did not ask for these charges, the statute of limitations would run on them. So this weekend is the last moment that Durham can be indicted for lying to federal officials, because this all happened, believe it or not, 5 years ago,
Sussman.
September 2016. Excuse me.
Time flies when you're liars.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So whether or not there's more to come out of this, we really only know if there are leaks in the investigation. We know that Durham has been following a number of different trails. Thus far, not a lot of indictments to come out of that.
Well, were there at least Russian hookers this time? FBI, complicit in crime. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. So, guys, the FBI has allowed gang violence to continue. There was a story, December 9th, 2002. FBI allowed drug gang violence to continue for 7 months. Lawyer for accused gangster says. By Dean Shabner of the Reuters. Yes, mostly stupid people, guys. They join gangs. They have bandwagon mentality. They can't think for themselves. So naturally, the stupid people who don't want to go to prison, who really want to win at life, they'll join the police or the FBI. There they can do nefarious things, rape, pillage, and they will be believed, even though they lie constantly. The reason is because they have authority. In the case of Larry Nassar, so did he. He was a doctor from the USA gymnastics team and a professor at Michigan State University, guys. Under the guise of medical treatment, Nassar abused his patients. He has recently admitted to only 10, maybe number as high as 332 girls he molested. More than 150 federal agents and state lawsuits have been filed against Nassar, Michigan State University, and the U.S. Olympic Committee, USA Gymnastics, and the Twin Stars Gymnastics Club. Rachel DeHollander, a lawyer and former gymnast, was the first to publicly accuse Nassar of sexual assault. I bet she was told by the FBI to come forward, and thank God you came forward. Oh, was she not? Was she ridiculed? Was she blackballed? Apparently she was fired from her job. When I came forward, I fully expected multiple levels of botched investigations and cover-ups because that's what survivors are up against. She was right. When it comes to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, are you rich? Are you powerful? Are you male? Are you white? Well, we'll see what we can do. The Justice Department's Inspector General said for a year he had been alerted to Nassar's abuse. The FBI ignored it. The FBI didn't just infiltrate the notorious Nuestra Familia prison gang. It allowed their informants to continue the group's violent and criminal activities for 7 months. Like I said, guys. They pulled off drug and gun deals. They killed leaders of rival gangs. Their informants killed leaders of rival gangs, guys. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say that if you get the FBI involved with a crime, the crime will continue under their jurisdiction. That's what will happen. They won't stop the crime. They will literally capitalize on the crime, and they will go all in, killing rival drug dealers. Federal investigators refuse to comment on the cases, the drug crimes, and this gymnastics case. The San Francisco attorney Mark Zilvismit contends the government's own legal filings reveal a federal role in the brutal prison-based gang, and recent troubling questions about how far the FBI can take an undercover operation. How far can the FBI take an undercover operation? Let me tell you something, guys. They're in an undercover operation right this very minute. It's called them protecting and defending the United States of America. They're not on our side. They're traitors to our country. How many text messages from Lisa Page and Peter Strzok do you need for that? What up, Nemo Animus? Hail, Bratton. Look at the muscles on you from Twitch. Step right up, bro. We're bashing the FBI. It's well-deserved. And it's late on arrival. Not only have the Central Intelligence Agencies lied us into war, instigated coups around the world, and made our interests and our national, he says, are we bashing for racism? If only it was just racism, Nemo. If only it was. Apparently, anytime you get the FBI involved with a crime, they'll continue the crime and capitalize on the crime. It's amazing. They're like not even interested in solving the crime. They just want to know how the crime works so they can do the crime. You call these poor people insurrectionists, and you have the most evil, maniacal, narcissistic sociopaths with complexes that I'm not even psychiatric, I'm not doctorally available to tell you. I don't have the freaking degree to tell you their complexes. But let me tell you this, guys. The country's starting to have a complex of its own. It's like when the Jews were taken into concentration camps, except this is different, guys, because the Jews never ratted the other Jews out to the Gestapo. Here, we've got Jews ratting Jews out.
4 people were arrested on Saturday in Washington as they took part in a rally in support of the rioters arrested in the January 6th attack at the Capitol. Police say about 450 people attended Saturday's protest. That's even fewer than the low number projected by law enforcement. Authorities stepped up security in the days before and put up a fence around the Capitol to ensure the protest did not become a repeat of January 6th.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.
On here. We got so much fun on the chat here. I can't keep up with you guys. Sounds like you deserved it, forehead. I don't know what y'all are talking about, but all I can say, guys, is make sure the FBI is not listening, because if they are, they'll pick up on what you're saying and they'll inflict violence on everyone. Because that's really what they do. They don't solve crimes. They perpetuate crimes and perfect crimes. That's what they did with the gymnastics gig. They saw Larry Nassar molesting and abusing women. They decided that they were going to ignore it. Why? I don't know. Why did the president of Michigan State tell the first victim to shut the fuck up? Because you're cramping my style? Poor? You little poor? So guys, when Nancy Pelosi's wringing her hands, talking about how this was an attack on democracy, it was nothing but an attack on the system. The system, guys, that gives us the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that gives us income inequality, neoliberal policies, and the perpetual war against mentally handicapped people, mentally ill people, black people, Asian people, poor people, anyone who's not the 1%, guys. Joe Lewis, he's having a whole ass day right now. I'm having a whole ass day. I don't know if you're talking about me, or maybe you're talking about somebody else. My day is just fine, guys. In fact, I'm, what do they call it? Walking on sunshine and shit? Blake Starr, stop cramping my shine, bro. I'm trying to tell a story about the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Everybody's mad at Blake Starr here. Blake Starr, don't steal my shine, bro. You know, the investigation for Operation Black Widow, guys, you know, that joint effort between the Nuestra Familia gang and the police operated in Salinas from the Oregon border. The FBI continued to run that gang even after the Nuestra head was killed. In fact, rumor has it, in the documents, FBI's own documents, they might have killed him themselves. They might have offed the gang member They might have offered the gang member to run the gang of the Nuestro family themselves, the FBI guys. So I ask you, is this the kind of person, are these the kind of people that are looking out for national security interests? Are these the kind of people who want your best interest and want to keep the nation safe? Or are they liars who have always lied? And now, on top of that, guys, what gets me even mostly is the fact that how in the fuck did they convince you this was an attack on democracy and for you to turn in your kids, your neighbors, and your brothers and countrymen in this insurrectionist commission? Neither the Democrats nor the Republicans give a shit about you. And you think the FBI does? The FBI gives a shit about you to the extent that they want to know how you work so they can use your weaknesses against you so they can steal you, steal your money, and conduct experiments like put LSD in your water or frame the narrative by buying media. So we're in big trouble, guys. We're in big trouble. And does anybody have anything to say on the chat besides wiggle? I don't know what y'all are talking about, guys. It's fucking annoying, though. I'm doing a serious point here. Thousands of intimidation claims, violence, investigations into not the corruption, but into the people that were investigating them. So, as far as I'm concerned, guys, not only does the FBI and the CIA need to be dissolved, not only have they misused their purpose times 1,000, but they're actually literally perpetuating things that are endangering the country's national interests, guys. The pedophilia, the sex crime complicity, that is endangering the national interest of our freedom, of our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So, racketeering charges, the politicians and the deep state should not be able to work hand in hand like this. And my question to you guys is, how can you possibly be like completely just gung-ho, not even giving a shit about this, when we have a deep state that conspired against the former president Trump? And I don't like Trump that not much, not really a fan, but was LSD in the water FBI or CIA? So that's a good question. It was the CIA, Nemo Animus. Thank you for paying attention. But these guys, they all work together. They all talk together. They all lie together. They all corroborate stories together. Don't forget 9/11, guys. Don't forget weapons of mass destruction. We saw fucking food trucks full of guns and weapons. There were none. There was a guy named Peanut who was a liar, and the Russians didn't even believe what he said. And we found that out 10 years after the war started. But yet, you're still going to believe that this was an attack on democracy and these guys are telling the truth. I don't get it. We got tyrants in office. We've got treasonous serpents in the deep state. And, oh shit, the delay is fixed now. Was there delay? I didn't know, bro. I'm having some delays myself, guys. So I'm trying to figure out how in the hell did we start becoming worse than World War II with the turning people in for the January 6th. The only thing that I'd like to say about January 6th, guys, and I'll say this openly, is the left should have been there with the right wing. You know, the right wing got there. They didn't know what to do. They were all pent up energy, breaking shit because they're very, reactive. The left could have been like, hey, we brought some guillotines. Problem solved, guys. Guillotines. That's why the left and the right were supposed to work together. The common good. Now, a lot of people are talking about how this was an attack on democracy. It wasn't. It was an attack on the duopoly political parties that have robbed, looted, and raped our country, polluted our oceans, and have thieved and destroyed our country and the Constitution and our civil liberties. That's what it was. I don't know why they would have called it a threat to democracy, except they want to divide and conquer us, make us hate each other. It's really too easy for us to hate the other side. I mean, how long did it take for you guys to just jump on that threat to democracy line? How long did it take for you guys to really believe that stupid bullshit about the Russian hookers? How long did it, guys, take for you to figure out Mueller was a lying psychopath? Did you read his whole report? I wonder. Just wondering. So it's like Samson and Delilah, guys. When Delilah is clearly trying to fucking fuck you up, trying to figure out your weakness, you finally tell her. That's where we're at here with this country. So I don't know what to do about that now, but all I can say is, besides the Insurrectionist Commission, we've now given the lying political parties that George Washington warned us about, and the deep insidious deep state, all the power over us with this commission, and we knock our brothers and sisters, countrymen, over the head with something that was, who knows who funded it. The Republicans think that it was funded by Antifa. The Democrats say it was. I say you were all in on it. I say who let all of these people in the building. I say you guys are always constantly surrounded by armed guards and fences. I say something went down, guys. But it doesn't even matter, guys, because Nancy Pelosi, she smelled your Axe body spray. She smelled your Drac Noir. She smelled your pour. She's coming for your head. She's going to use you to get everyone else's.
Director Wray, would you proceed with your opening statement, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Grassley, members of the committee.
Breaking tonight, the third story in a row, there are new developments in the Hunter Biden email story. Here's senior political correspondent Mike Emanuel in Washington. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening. One senior federal official tells Fox News the FBI and DOJ concur with DNI John Ratcliffe's assessment that Hunter Biden's laptop and emails were not part of a Russian disinformation campaign. And the senior federal official says the FBI is in possession of the Hunter Biden laptop in question. That breaking moments ago. Also late today, a new photo has emerged in the New York Post showing former Vice President Joe Biden's son Hunter and purported Kazakh officials. It is undated. We're checking with our sources to get as much information as we can about it and the proper context, as we are with all the new revelations in this Hunter Biden story. Big tech about to be under the spotlight. Negotiations continue with Senate Judiciary, which is threatening subpoenas for the CEOs of Facebook and Twitter on Thursday.
We should have no more foot dragging. We should have proactive action here to address the concentration, to address the power, to address the censorship.
Some Republicans charging censorship, even election interference, as the social media platforms blocked distribution of the initial Hunter Biden email story.
You look at all the corruption in his family, it's tremendous corruption. Nobody's ever seen. I mean, that laptop, nobody has ever seen anything like that. He's gone into hiding.
President Trump accusing Joe Biden of staying away from reporters ahead of Thursday night's debate to avoid answering questions about his son Hunter's purported laptop and emails. The president also jumped on this May 2017 email with Chinese energy executives verified by a source on the email chain, which discusses payment for 6 people. It includes a reference to 10% of the equity in the deal being held by H, assumed to be Hunter, for the big guy, which sources say is Joe Biden.
The vice president got a kickback, and everybody knows it, and they've known it for a long time.
Fox News has obtained images, including what appears to be a receipt from the Wilmington, Delaware computer repair shop signed by Hunter Biden. It also listed an email and cell phone number for him, and documentation from the FBI's interaction with shop owner John Paul MacIsaac. It shows the Bureau took possession of an alleged Hunter Biden laptop and external hard drive last December. Senate Homeland Security Chairman Ron Johnson wants answers about the FBI's actions since then.
The FBI owes us a defensive briefing. If this shop owner is fraudulently peddling information to the Congress, that's a crime. The FBI ought to brief us on that as well.
Investigative journalist Glenn Greenwald notes the Biden campaign's silence on the authenticity of what's been reported.
No one in the Biden camp, not Hunter Biden, not Joe Biden, not anyone with the Biden campaign has even insinuated, let alone stated, that the emails are anything other than authentic.
The FBI has made every effort to stay out of the 2020 election after it was front and center in 2016 with Hillary Clinton's emails and her private server. But tonight, some breaking news. We are told by a senior federal official.
So how many of you freaking guys believe that they did everything they could to stay out of the elections in 2020 because of the 2016 fucking Hillary Clinton emails? How many of you believe that? At Time Nation Politics, sorry, pal, I'm not standing next to a person who'd like to take away my right to vote based on a lie. I don't even know what that means, Park Tuan. Standing next to a person who'd like to take... first of all, I don't want to take away your right to vote based on a lie. I don't know what lie you're talking about. I've given you 6 lies that the FBI told you. What lie have I told you? I haven't told you any lie. So you're not coming in too clear, bro. I think you're kind of a nuts, Parker Duan, because I don't give a shit about your right to vote. Your right to vote doesn't even matter because only the elites in this country have privileges. You don't. Did you notice those mask mandates? Guess who's exempt? Congress. Are you dum-dums finished yet telling me that I'm taking away your right to vote? I'm the problem? I mean, you guys are fucking ridiculous. How fucking dumb are you? Oh, Senator, taking my right away to vote. Oh my God, fucking idiots. So anyway, yeah, I'm taking your right away to vote. Just be afraid, guys. Any minute now, I'm going to take all your rights away to vote. I got that much power, guys. Don't worry. I mean, the Democrats and Republicans, they don't have any power at all. It's me. I'm the one who's going to take your right away to vote. You're totally right about that, Park Dick Juan. So don't stand side by side with me. I'm based on a lie. Ugh, these people. Anyway, so I know there's a lot of smart people here. Stop fucking about talking about Blake Starr. I fucking punch this guy in the numbnuts. This guy needs to learn some logic. First of all, I mean, it's a whole nother Tommy Nation Politics episode to logically make you figure out the fact that I don't have any power, that I'm a working class bartender who does a podcast where I find actual facts and I report them to you. I'm not taking your right away to vote. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus Christ, literally. You guys make my head explode sometimes. Anyway, so USA Today. This was December the 9th. So remember, we had Hunter Biden's laptop. The social media giant said it was hacked, right? Turns out it came from it was Hunter Biden's laptop. He said it was his laptop. Hunter Biden corroborated that it was his laptop. And he also corroborated that he gave it to the repair company, but didn't pick it up. He said that on an interview in 60 Minutes. So it wasn't hacked. The fact checkers were wrong. And we also have a free speech amendment that you don't censor people. And even if you think that it's false, the best course of action to bad speech is more speech. It's not censorship. What happens if you censor people? People wonder why you're censoring them, and they'll seek out the information other ways. So when you censor people, it really just backfires on you. What you need to do is you need to tell people the truth. You need to be honest with people. And you need to have a normal conversation with people and not demagogue, like what this dude said about me taking his right away to vote. That was the most dramatic shit ever. It's like, what the fuck? But you guys are funny. Pass the weed low. Man, if y'all are smoking, mail me some, guys. Cash at me. Tommy Nation Politics. Tommy Nation Politics. One word. Capital T, capital N, capital P. Cash at me some money, bro, so I can buy some weed, okay? I can't sleep, bro. That's why I'm doing this. But was Hunter Biden's laptop, was it hacked? No. So Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey, wrong. And by the way, they also censored a renowned newspaper that's been around before they were even born, the New York Post. That was founded in like 1906. They censored it for fake news. These guys, I mean, talk about too much power. So that was false, guys. It was hacked. What's true is Hunter Biden is under investigation for tax dealings. Hunter Biden is under investigation for statutory rape. Hunter Biden is under investigation for the FBI for drug charges. Hunter Biden is under investigation for tax fraud. Do you hear any of this in the mainstream media, guys? Do you hear any of this on the Facebook, social media? What are the fact checkers telling you mostly? Are they telling you that black people, bartenders on their podcast are taking away your right to vote? Is that what they're telling you? Because I need to fact check that. The president's own son, guys, has about 4 counts of federal crimes pending. He's in the wind. I don't know if you noticed. He's now with Joe at any family affair events. Did you see him July 4th? No. Did you see him any kind of holidays? No. Because apparently the feds are tracking him, except they can't seem to find him because he's the president's son. And they invented a whole entire Russian story to get this dementia-riddled old man elected. So, I guess. Now, what's really puzzling me, though, is that Joe pulled out of this Afghanistan thing real quick. And that really angered the military-industrial complex and his donors, who are Bloomberg, who makes a lot of money with Raytheon and stocks. Raytheon is a bomb maker. And Boeing, that flies the bombers. They make the bombers. So we could bomb brown and black people overseas. Now, they don't like the fact that Joe's pulled out. And they were his donors last quarter. This quarter, it's Bloomberg coming in at $96,000 for donations. And some unions from Chicago coming in at $5,000. Everything lower than that, Joe doesn't put on his campaign finance card. He considers that dark money. But what's for certain, guys, is the laptop recovered from the Delaware repair shop was not hacked. There was no apologies from the FBI. There was no. Have y'all heard a resolution? What has happened with the laptop? Have y'all know? Do y'all know? Do you want to know? Because there were some interesting pictures with him and underage girls. The big guy, the payoff, the Ukraine board room. What is a incredibly volatile human being like Hunter Biden doing on an energy board in Ukraine? You know, Biden sent him there. So these could all be pieces of the puzzle of why exactly he pulled out so fast of Afghanistan. This could actually answer a lot of questions, but I know none of you guys are interested in that because now that Trump's out of office, everything's fine, right? Because that's what the media has painted, that picture that they painted. But everything's not fine, guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is that this is one step away from an Orwellian nightmare, guys. One step away. And we're already turning each other in. The thought police are already us. And Blinken, the Secretary of Defense, is tongue-tied when he's asked about his stance on Afghanistan, and in the new or any question you ask the Press Secretary Jen Psaki or the Secretary of Defense, they can't seem to find the answers, but they can refer you to some great propaganda.
I just have a couple more questions for you. A little off topic here, but I think it's interesting. How long was your recent interview with the FBI, and was it a deposition?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring.
Are you saying that you have not had a recent interview with the FBI since becoming Secretary of State?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, and I'm happy to take that up with you offline.
Did the State Department turn over documents to the FBI related to Hunter Biden, Burisma, and or the Blue State Strategies Corporation?
You'll have to.
So you have no knowledge of this. You have had no. You don't. You are you saying you have not had an interview with the FBI since
it would not be appropriate for me to comment in a public forum on any legal proceedings that the department.
I'm not asking you to cooperate. I'm not asking you to comment on the legal proceedings. I'm just asking if you've been interviewed by the FBI since becoming Secretary of State.
Again, I'm not going to comment one way or another on any legal proceedings or not that may or may not have happened.
Have you sought to...
Let me remind the gentleman that the topic of this hearing is Afghanistan. That's what we're...
I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, but the Secretary generally refuses to answer questions about Afghanistan, so I just figured we'd talk about something he should be intimately familiar with. Have you sought to alter any of your testimony from last year's Senate investigation regarding this topic? Mr. Secretary.
New York Post. Now, what's made this whole entire January 6th riot insurrection thing incredibly puzzling to me is not only the fact that these two parties are in cahoots, wanting to rob and break the backs of the American people and the American working class so they can funnel the wealth to the 1% who own more wealth than the bottom 90% combined, use us as pretty much human slaves. We're slaves. We're pods, just like in the Matrix. We're energy. And once we're broken and we're done, then our kids, it's time for them to work for the 1%. And the dogs of the 1%, the police and the courts, which were the Klan back in the day, the patty rollers that tracked down the runaway slaves, they're now doing the work of tracking down our American brothers and sisters who, by valid reasons, and not be, I don't agree with the whole Trump is president, Trump is great. I think Trump's a fucking moron. I don't understand the big deal about him. I don't get it. But they were right. This election was stolen. But it was stolen a long time ago, guys. It was stolen by the elites. Because of the Constitution, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of ourselves and our tranquility. Does the FBI? No. We the people. Out of many, one. Do you know Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton were completely polar opposites? They fought daily in the White House, but they came together. They came together because the common good was what mattered. And that's our heritage, guys. Working together for the common good. They called it e pluribus unum. Now, the Democrats and Republicans are extremely scared of the Constitution because it's the only thing in our government that blatantly and specifically gives us the power and not them. And they can fool you into believing all kinds of Steele dossiers. They can troll you into believing that Biden and Trump are somewhat different, even though they're the exact same puppet and they're bought by the exact same people. They can finagle you into voting for a duopoly political party system in which nothing fundamentally changes. But what they can't do is they cannot, and the founders made this for a specific reason. They can legislate all day long, guys, but to amend the Constitution or to change it in any way other than a ratification of all the states is a truly hard errand. They try to do it with the mandates. They try to do it with curbing our civil liberties with the Patriot Act. They try to pretend that they have all power with their mandated vaccines. And just to Parkside Tuan, because you asked, so let's bring that up. What's your takes on the vax? I took Moderna. It's working, I guess. I don't have COVID. I think the vaccines were made too fast. Is there a vaccine for HIV? HIV is a virus, right? It's a coronavirus. Where's my HIV vaccine? Why did we give government contracts to Johnson & Johnson when they're being sued for narcotics abuses? What are the long-term effects of this? We don't know. Unknown. Is everyone lying and posturing? Capitalizing on a product because this is a capitalist system? Yes. So one of my takes on this vax is I took a long journey trying to figure out which one was right for me. I did a lot of research at Moderna. And my doctor said she took it. So I took it. Do I think people should be forced to take a vaccine? No. Because again, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all men are created equal. And the founding fathers made it in our Constitution so that the majority does not have rule over the minority. In Joe Biden's speech, when he mandates vaccines, he specifically says there's a distinct minority that will not let us turn the corner. Now, if fucking George Washington were to hear that shit, he would get his musket out and go right to Joe Biden. Because that is some tyrannical shit. You're not supposed to talk about the distinct minority. You're supposed to debate the distinct minority, reason with them, calm their fears, and come to an agreement for the common good. So politics is all fucked up, guys. And vaccines are not supposed to be a political issue. It's supposed to be a thing. I never had to talk. I never had to hear Joe Biden talk about my polio vaccine or my measles vaccine. The fact that Joe Biden's talking about the vaccines and he's a polarizing figure in which 40% of the country distrusts everything he says by default. Do you think that Joe Biden should be talking about vaccines? Parkside Twan? If Joe Biden really wanted us to take the vaccine, would Joe Biden talk about it? Because Joe Biden knows. He's got to know. Hillary knew. Hillary knew that every time she campaigned for her presidential election, her polls went lower. So she didn't campaign in Iowa, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Because she thought if she went to there, she would lose. So she didn't go. She was smarter than Joe. Hillary knows that she's a polarizing person. Joe, even though he wrote a crime bill and tell everybody to do some push-ups fat, and he's a racist, dementia-riddled old man, incarcerated almost half my race. And I'll never forgive him for that. Sorry. He still thinks he's a likable guy who rides the trains in Delaware. And he could speak calmly to you about a vaccine. A, you're not a doctor. B, get the fuck out of my healthcare. If you want to get in my healthcare, Joe, give me Medicare for all. If you want people to take the shot, Joe, why don't you give people Medicare for all? You don't give people Medicare for all, guys. Joe, you let people pay into your Obamacare market that is already overpriced and which you were fining me for not having healthcare, Joe. So, Joe, let me ask you a question, Joe. Do you really want me to take the vaccine? Or do you want me to go into your Obamacare market and prove it works and cause me to be even more strapped for cash if I'm poor? Do you really care about me, Joe, and the American people, or do you want to take credit for the shot? Because that's what he was saying in his speech. The 7 months, he said 7 months, we've made great progress. Now, the pandemic, that was March. It was almost 15 months ago. So what could have happened 7 months ago in which we could have made great progress, Parkside Twan? What happened 7 months ago? 7 months ago, Joe Biden ascended to power. Joe Biden wants to stay in power. He wants you to take the shot, shut the fuck up. And I don't give a shit what you have to say. I need to stay in power. I need to maintain power for my party because I'm a Democrat. So it's a really complicated question, my take on the vaccines. I don't really know now, guys. Now that everything is a product and everything is to be capitalized on and there's no truth anymore. There's no justice. Now that there's no justice or truth and everybody's marketing to me, it's really hard to figure that out. And I really had to talk to my doctor about it. But I will say this. What's not helping is Joe Biden talking about vaccines. Anything Joe Biden, 40% of the country, anything Joe Biden talks about, not going to do it. Why would that help? He doesn't want to help, guys. He wants to divide us. That's his goal. Why does he want to divide us? So he can stay in power. It really is so simple. So that's why I'm not the one taking your vote, okay? The one dividing us is. The deceivers are. Think about that, guys. And it's also really late. Thanks for staying up with me. I really didn't mean to go this long, but you made it worth my while. Even though you told me some weird shit about taking your votes or something. You crazy kids, get some sleep. Be free thinking, innovative, open-minded. Make sure you visit me at www.tommynationpolitics.com. I'm going to always be straight with you. Try to be consistent as I can. I'm never going to lie. I'm horrible at lying anyway. Good at singing. Horrible at lying, guys. Tommy Nation Politics.